السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك، واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك، وسنة نبيك، واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. So we still busy discussing Kitab al-Karahiyah. We're discussing Kitab al-Bay', meaning the things which are related to buying and selling. So we're going to the next masala now, which is to sell something which may be used for haram. You're selling something that could be used for a haram purpose. So he's going to mention it's of two types. Either the thing itself is directly being used for haram purpose, or the thing itself is not directly involved in the sin, but rather it depends upon the usage of the person buying it from you. And that person could use it for halal or haram, but it's not made for haram. It hasn't specifically been earmarked for haram, but can be used indirectly or can be misused for haram. So we say, وَيُكْرَأُ بَيْءُ الصَّلَاحِ فِي أَيَّامِ الْفِتْنَةِ. And it is makruh to sell weapons during the days of fitna, meaning during the days of war, or even the civil strife, not necessarily war. Civil strife will mean like, what do you call this, with the people in the country fighting against the government, rebellion and so forth. Civil war. معناه ممن يعرف أنه من أهل الفتنة. What this means is, what they saying, رحمه الله تعالى ونفع الله بعلومه وعلوم مشايخنا وبكم آمين. That is, if the person is known to be from أهل الفتنة, people who have corruption. لأنه تسبب إلى معصية. Why? Because now you are becoming a cause of sin. And you are becoming a cause by selling this person weapons, gangster and so forth. You are becoming the cause of sin. وقد بيناه في السير, and we explain this idea in the كتاب السير. وإن كان لا يعرف أنه من أهل الفتن ولا بأس بذلك. And if it is not known that this person is from the أهل الفتنة, then there's no harm in selling weapons to such a person. لأنه لا يحتمل أن يستعمله في الفتنة فلا يكره بالشك. Why? Because there is no possibility the person out there is not a person of fitna. Then outwardly is not possible or is not feasible that the person will use it for wrong purposes. So therefore, it will not become makruh just because of shock. It may be why this person buying the weapon. They don't look like someone going to cause harm, but why that such person want to want? So we don't have to entertain such doubts. Cool, right? So that's the first one. Then the second type, ولا بأس ببيع العصير مما يعلم أنه يتخذه خمرا. And there's no problem with selling grapes or grape juice to a person whom you know is going to turn it into wine. Is going to use it for making wine. لأن المعصية لا تقام بعينه بل بعد تغييره. Why? Because in this case the sin is not doesn't come about by using the actual item. The sin is not contained in the actual item in the grapes or the grape juice, but rather after processing it. Really after processing it. Is that? So it's not that you produce it for haram purposes, but it may be misused for haram purposes if the person processes it in a particular way. بخلاف بيع السلاح, contrary to the sale of weapons in the first مسألة في أيام الفتنة, during the days of fitna, لأن المعصية تقوم بعينه, because in this case here the sin is established with the actual item itself. So that ومن أجرى بيع, now it's with regards to renting things. We did say about now what about renting? With regards to renting things or renting your labor. First with regards to renting things, ومن أجر بيتا ليتخذ فيه بيت نار أو كنيسة أو بيعة أو بيعة ويباع فيها الخمر بالسواد فلا بأس به. If a person lets out a room or a house or a building in order for it to be used as a place of worship for the fire worshippers, Faitanarin, a house of fire, meaning that the residents are going to use it to use as a church for the fire worship. Or Kanisatin, or to be used as a what you call the church. Or Bi'atin, or the Jews are going to use it as a what you call synagogue. Or يباع في الخمر, or it's going to be turned into a liquor store. السواد in the Sawadat. And the Sawad in the time of Imam Hanifa does refer to the areas, Christian localities. They used to put it as Sawad. The Christian localities in Baghdad or in nowadays what is called Iraq, in that area, this is called Sawad, the Christian or the non-Muslim residential areas. If you're going to do it there, فلا بأس به, another problem. وهذا عند أبي حنيفة, this is according to Abu Hanifa رحمه الله. There's a famous اختلاف between Abu Hanifa and Sahibain. Because the whole question about renting a building, if you got a building and a bank wants to rent it from you, you're allowed to rent it to the bank or not. You'll find the Mufti's fatwas are also differing, depending on who they prefer. Imam Hanifa's view or Sahibain's. فقال لا ينبغي أن يكريه بشيء من ذلك لأنه إعانة على المعصية. Sahibain, so it's not appropriate that you rent any of those things for any of those purposes. Why? Because you are assisting the person in committing the sin. وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. And looking at that ayat of Quran as a general principle. وله أن الإجارة ترد على منفعة البيت. Hanifa he goes by the same logic as he did in the second masala of today. That the rent itself is revolves around the benefit of that building that you're renting out. You're renting out for the person to use the utility of it. You're not renting it out for any specific purpose for the person to use it at all, even though you know you're going to do wrong with it. ولهذا تجب الأجرة بمجرد تسليم. It's for this reason that the rent becomes compulsive and merely handing it over to that person. So even if that person doesn't use it at all for any purpose, you still due your rent. ولا معصية فيه, and there's no sin in this. وإنما المعصية في فعل المستأجر وهو مختار فيه. The sin only comes about because of the action of the rentee, person letting the place, the person renting the place. And he is free to do so. He has a choice how to use it. فقطع النسبة عنه. So therefore, the nisbah, the association or the attribution of the sin is cut off from the rentor, person renting the place, the landlord. وإنما قيده بالسواد. And Imam Hanifa Rahman he confines us to the Sawad, the Christian localities, the predominantly non-Muslim localities, the Muslim countries, لأنهم لا يمكنون من اتخاذ البيت بيع والكنائس وإظهار بيع الخمور والخنازير في الأمصار. Why? Because they will not be allowed, the non-Muslims, to take any place of worship regardless of the denomination, or to openly sell alcohol and swine in the cities. لظهور شعائر الإسلام فيها. Why? Because all the symbols of Islam are dominant in the cities, meaning our Muslim country. بخلاف السواد, contrary to the Muslim, or the non-Muslim or the predominantly non-Muslim localities. قالوا هذا كان في سواد الكوفة. The ulama say this referred to the Sawad of Kufa, the Imam Hanifa's Sawadin state. لأن غالب أهلها أهل الذمة. Why? Because in those days, the majority of its citizens, that's why, were the Ahlul Dhimma, non-Muslims. فأما في سوادنا, however, in our Sawad, in our non-Muslim localities, فإعلام الإسلام or أعلام الإسلام فيها ظاهرة. The symbols of Islam are dominant in there as well. فلا يمكنون فيها أيضا. وهو الأصح So therefore, they will not be allowed to do this in our Sawat, or the thing of his time, in there as well. And this is the correct opinion. You understand that?
जी
Anything you didn't understand? Any question?
अल्लाह understood
Maaf?
أنا الحمد لله understood
Okay, inshallah, we'll stop it, inshallah. We'll continue tomorrow, بإذن سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك